The Toyota Alex is highly priced, it doesn't depreciate in value, but if you buy poorly, you will lose money.
So, you're basically wondering to yourself, why should I buy a car? I can take my orders every day, I can take a taxi, I can call for an Uber or a Taxify, and self-border makes it convenient, you can pay via mobile money. But, we all need a car. And, this is why. See how sweaty I am? Well, I think this is how sweaty you get every evening when you go to fight for a taxi, or when a border guy drives you wild and you think, my God, we're going to get an accident, we're going to crash into a car. He's driving really fast and you're not sweating because you're working hard, but you're sweating because you're thinking hard. My God, when will I get out of this? So, I want to introduce to you reasons why I know you need to buy a car. I mean, if you can afford a car at least. And I know if you're watching this, you're contemplating to yourself, should I buy a car? Should I not buy a car? Now, reason number one why you want to buy a car. It's worth it. Now, where we are in Uganda right now, you will realize that it is totally worth it. So how is it worth it? Now, I want you to imagine, is a car a necessity or a liability in our lives today? Of course it is a necessity. Why? Imagine at midnight you have an emergency and you try to call the Uber, it's very busy. Your neighbor is not opening up. You try to call your brother or sister that has a car and they're saying, oh my God, I'm far, or my car broke down or something. Is it a car worth it? It is. Now, I want you to also imagine you wake up at 5 a.m. because you have to be at work at 6 because you have some work you didn't finish last night and you can't get a means of transport to get you to work, at least a safe means of transport, because right now we both know that Uber is not as safe as it used to be. It is full of guys that would easily take your stuff because you're trying to protect yourself from robbers, but the Uber guy can easily be a robber. The border guys, my God, it's wild. So the car is worth it in every way. It's worth it. Every family should have a car. It doesn't matter. Do you drive it every day or not? You need to have a car. So you don't need to go and buy a new car. You need a car that doesn't break down. You need a car that will get you to your destination in one piece. You know how every festive season buses and taxis increase their fare? Well, normally the fuel prices are the same as the last month. So you don't want to go to the village, you're inconvenienced, you sit in a bus, the guy next to you is smelling, the other guy on the other side didn't brush their teeth, the guy in front of you is farting for you, and total inconvenience. It feels like you're saving, but my dear, you are not. As long as you can drive your car carefully, not crash it, not scratch other people's car, a car will be one of the best investments you can have in the country today. You can actually move out of town. Some people are still renting today because you imagine yourself living in let's say you imagine yourself living in Zeta and you can't see yourself getting out of that place every day. You cannot get out of renting right now because you think, okay, I need to live in Bokoto because, well, Bokoto is walking distance to my workplace, or Bokoto, I can easily grab a border at 6,000 and get to my workplace. So I can't move to Zeta. You probably even started your house almost, it's even complete, but you're thinking to yourself, how do I live in Zeta without the proper means of transport? Yes, you see, a car is totally worth it. So you need to buy it now. You need guidance? Call me. You need guidance in buying a proper car? Call me. Watch all our videos and see which cars you should buy, which cars you should not buy, what process you need to go through before you buy a car. But you need a car. Do you know how much of risk you take every time you sit on a border? It's like every time you take a border, your life is 100% in the hands of the rider. Your life is 50% in the hands of the cars that come from behind you, of the cars that come in front of you, and of the borders that you're with on the road. Now, you don't want to put your life in the hands of anyone. Let me tell you two stories. Story number one, a relative of mine. She grabs a border, goes for a meeting somewhere, and as she's coming back gets off a border to take a taxi to take her to a final destination, and just then, a hit and run. A Toyota Hilux that was having rammed into someone. Both her limbs are broken. No, both her arms are broken. Both her legs are broken. Now the legs get broken from here, the arms from here. Now, can you imagine how much pain this person is in? Now, my relative was the victim. The Hilux disappeared. No one else. We have never known where it is. It doesn't matter where we have cameras on the streets. We have never known where the Hilux went. The only thing we know is that it was Hilux. Now, she went through too much pain. To this day, she has not really recovered. Do you know how much was spent on treating her? And this is not to full recovery. How much was paid to the hospital to the point of discharge? 17.8 million Ugandan shillings. Can you afford that much? Now, every time you grab a border, every time you decide that, okay, taxi is cheaper, every time you decide that walking or cycling in Kampala is cheaper, that's how much risk you get. Let me tell you another story. A friend of mine grabs a border. She goes shopping. Now, as she's coming back, I don't have a full story. She gets an accident and she falls on the tarmac. Now, what happens? Her chest gets severely injured. Now, her jaw, the lower part of the jaw, it almost gets cracks open. Okay? Now, her teeth almost come out. Can you imagine how much pain that person goes through? Can you imagine how much money she spends in treating her chest, treating her jaw, stitching it back together, and finally, you have to go to a hospital and actually get scans to see if you don't have a blood clot. That is if the machine can see every kind of blood clot. Okay? So, now, those are two instances that I've given you where you don't want to not have a car. Because if she had a car, she would have driven to the market, drive back home. There is no way she's balancing on two wheels. The border has two wheels, okay? The border has two wheels, so you're balancing. If the guy that is riding is not stable as enough, then the chances of you falling this side or that side are high, and you don't want to be there, okay? So, another instance, a friend of mine, this is why she doesn't take borders anymore. And one time she's on the border heading to work, and the Kalero Northern Bypass roundabout, the border guy is not stable. He gets scared about oncoming vehicle, and they fall. And where do they fall? In front of a trailer. Now, Mercedes-Benz created these huge trailers of theirs to be very, very stable. The trailer breaks immediately, and well, it doesn't stop any of them. But I'm sure you guys, I'm sure you saw the video on the Northern Bypass still, where a Fuso knocks the border over, and then the guy actually drives over the two bodies. And by the time the truck is over, then they meet. Okay? Now, these are examples that I give you, and to try and tell you that, okay, a car is not really an expensive, it's not really an expensive purchase. A car is not a liability. A car is actually an asset in Kampala, because the car will try to keep you safe. 95% of the dangers due to road accidents, if you're not reckless, or if you're driving a car and you're going uphill, you want to make sure there is no big, very huge truck in front of you up the hill. And if you're going downhill, you want to actually make sure there is no huge truck behind you, because normally those are kind of accidents that are very deadly and you cannot see coming. So, but if you're that careful, chances are very high that you're not going to get these rare road accidents that will happen to border guys. You will not fall into a ditch. Okay? So I'll give you two reasons why you need to buy a car. Number one, it's convenience all the way. You get an emergency, you can go. You need to move at night, you can go. You need to go help out a sister or a friend or a brother, you can go. You don't need to beg anyone. You don't need to tell the border guy, Okay? And if fuel is your concern at the beginning of the month when you get your salary, go top up the tank and then drive it for like a week, top up again, drive for a week, top up again. Okay? Make sure you get a good mechanic. That's a car is a necessity. Reason number 2, there's too much risk in taking taxis, too much risk in taking borders. Okay? The other risk with taxis, in the evening, majority of people fight for taxis. As you fight for a taxi, you can get robbed. And you don't want to get into that. Okay? You want to get out of your office or your workplace, get into your car. Very convenient. Okay? And the prices don't rise and fall. Apart from this economic hardship we're going through, normally prices don't go up and down for the fuel. Because fuel was at I think 3,500 for at least a year or so. So we do not see fluctuations of fuel prices. So if you buy a car that is very fuel efficient, you will not find any trouble. Like I say, if you don't know which car to buy, go through my videos down there. You will see a lot of videos that tell you what to buy, what not to buy, where to buy, how to buy. And if you need guidance, hit me up. There are so many risks. I have a friend, he does videography work, and he has lost like 5 laptops, around 5 heavy-duty laptops, because he was taking a border from a shoot or somewhere, and the border guy turned out to be a robber, and they robbed him clean. 5 laptops, each of them costing about 2.5. Now, how much is that? Well, that's quite a sum. 4 laptops at 2.5, that's about 10 million. Now, 10 million, you can get a decent car that will keep you safe with your belongings. 3 reasons now. You don't want to get robbed, right? You don't want to get into the risk of accidents and all, and you want the convenience of having your own means of transport. For you, your wife, or your husband, and your kids, you want to travel safe. When it rains, you cannot take a border. Taxis are hard to come by. The Ubers are expensive. So, you want convenience. Now, the final reason why you want to actually buy a car. Now, you have about 10 to 15 million, and it's backed up on an account, a savings account somewhere. And imagine you run into a problem, and you have to withdraw and the problem comes from you actually not having a car. And you have to withdraw all that money to take care of yourself and all your family member, and then the account runs dry. Okay? Somehow we think that having a car is running into a lot of maintenance costs, including services, buying spare parts, paying off mechanics, buying tires, third-party transfer fees, paying off traffic officers. Well, let me tell you one thing. A car, we have all been told that a car is a liability. But I'll tell you this. A car is a liability for someone that does not know how to get the return on investment on that car. Okay? Now, the first return on investment, if you buy well, if you follow videos that we have been posting, and you follow the buying procedures I've told you, you buy the cars I've told you, your car will not depreciate in value, okay? Now, you don't have to buy a new car, no. On average, a new car, the moment you get it out of the bond, it has lost about 2 to 3 million. The moment it's a UBM, the moment you drive out of the bond, it loses 2 or 3 million in value. So you buy a car 20 million, you drive it out of the bond, it has now people will only buy it 17. True story, that happened. But on the contrary, if you buy a car outside the bond and you buy it at about 18, you can drive it for a year if you have kept it properly, serviced it properly, not crashed into anyone, not scratched anyone. If you bought it 18, you can sell it 17 or 16.5. Now, the 1.5 is what you paid for having convenience, okay? Now, my reason was, if you're keeping money on the account, not buying a car thinking that you will lose money, if you buy the right car, sometimes you actually make money, okay? If you buy the right car, if you buy at the right time, you buy from the right people, you pay the right amount, you will make money off of your car, okay? So just make sure you watch all the videos we have on this channel. Subscribe to see all the new videos that I put there, and trust me, if you follow what I tell you, you buy the right car, you'll not lose money on the car, and you'll actually make money. You can drive your car 2 to 3 years and then sell your car the exact amount or even more sometimes, and you don't lose. For example, we talked about the Toyota Alex.
in one of our previous videos. That's one car that doesn't lose value any day. But you have to make sure you buy it right. The Toyota Alex is highly priced, it doesn't depreciate in value, but if you buy poorly, you will lose money. There is a Toyota Vitz, it doesn't really lose value. If you buy poorly, you lose money. Now, the Toyota Sienna is very common, for example. It doesn't matter how much you buy, you lose money. The Paso, it doesn't matter how well you buy, you lose money. That's how it is. That's how the market dictates it. You just have to buy right and you will not lose money. Now, it doesn't matter what condition your car is in. If you buy a Toyota Paso, you buy it at 16 million today from the bond. Tomorrow you want to sell, you will sell at 13. That's what the market dictates. This is not what I say. Try it out. But go to the bond, buy a Toyota Primo. Okay? It does not matter which model. If you buy at the right price, you want to sell it tomorrow, you will not lose money, you will make money. That's just how things are, okay? Buy right, buy at the right price, buy at the right time, buy from the right person, you will not lose money. We have gone through 4 reasons why you want to buy your own car. 1, a car is no longer a luxury. The car is no longer something that is reserved for the rich. No. A car is something that every family needs. Every family gets an emergency. You don't want to be the neighbor that goes to your neighbor every day asking for help, asking into a You don't want to be that neighbor. Sometimes you'll get nagging and the neighbor will get tired of you and probably he will even say, my car broke down, so I also have to take a taxi today just to get away from you. Now, convenience, number 1. Number 2, the risks, you take care of a lot of risks when you buy your own car. No accidents. You don't get robbed and all. You don't get fight for taxis. You don't get rained on, okay? You take away all of this. And well, that's number 4. You will actually make money off of your car. Okay? You will not lose money. And apart from those 4 reasons, I want us to look at the car as something you buy, the way you buy a fridge in your house. You see, when you buy a fridge on average will consume at about 30,000 shillings a month, minimum, if you have a small fridge. Are you spending money on the fridge or you're making money off of the fridge? You're actually making money off of the fridge because if you bought meat at the beginning of this month, before prices skyrocketed, you're actually saving money now. If you bought tomatoes before the prices went up, you actually saved money. If you bought passion fruits before the prices skyrocketed, your fridge is actually saving you and actually making you money. So the 30,000 you're making, you're saving 2,000 here and there, you're actually making your 30,000 back. So that's how I want you to look at the car. You look at it, how much did I spend in a taxi? And you need to factor in inconveniences, you need to factor in the risks mitigated, you need to factor in the uncomfortable situations you get in with your co-passengers in the taxi. One has a very bad breath, one didn't shower last night, the other one has a very bad stench, and you know how taxi drivers drive. They hit humps like they are driving sacks of potatoes. So you don't want to be driven like that. In your own car, you'll drive at your own pace. You probably even have AC. Now, if you're the kind of person that goes through a dusty road every morning, you'll get to work with eyebrows that have dust. Your nose, if you have a hairy nose, then if you have beards like myself, then the beards will be brown. If you have hair, then your hair will be brown. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to be the person that goes to work and immediately you get into the toilet trying to clean your dust out of your hair. You don't want to be the kind of person that smells diesel fuel every morning in a taxi. My God, I can't stand that. I can't stand the smells. Normally when I take a taxi, I have about 3 to 4 hours of recovering from the fumes that taxis give off. And for me, it does not matter whether the taxi is new or old. I don't know, maybe it's just something with diesel engines that they emit those smells. And remember, in the taxi, the engine is actually in the same bay area with you, the passengers. So unless you're seated at the window, and if you're seated at the window behind, still the exhaust pipe will still bring the fumes back to you. So you don't want to be the kind of person that gets exposed to those kinds of fumes. And we don't even know what kind of risks these fumes have on us. Now you have to know that taxi guys are the kind of people that actually go and take cheap fuels. If Shell is selling its diesel at 6,400, a taxi guy will make sure if he can get fuel at 5,800, he goes and buys that fuel. It doesn't matter how bad it is. No wonder their engines don't last. So you want to
You don't know what the kind of effects that you get from those films, so you want to also take that away. 10 years or 20 years from now, if they tell you, okay, you got cancer of the lungs, and there is a possibility that bad diesel was the cause, and then you're thinking, oh my God, I should have bought a car. And my God, I could afford a car 20 years. God, I have 150 million on the account. I have steady income. Why wasn't I buying a car? I mean, I thought I was saving. Now I have this disease that can't be cured. I just have to manage it. See, you have all the reasons to buy a car. Now, you want to watch all the videos that we have on this channel, just click the channel and check them out. Now, you can also visit our blog, buycarkampala.com, and see a lot of, if you're the kind of person that likes to read, you can read a lot of content that we have posted there. And you can read reviews, car reviews as well. We have written them. And you can see which bond you have to go to. And then you can also learn how mechanics rip you off, because almost every mechanic in Uganda will rip you off. But you want to know how they rip you off so that you don't get them. So thank you very much for sticking around. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you liked it, and share it with friends and family if you think they need to hear this information. Now, if you are a son and your father has refused to buy a car but you know he can afford it, share this video with him. And if you are the wife whose husband refused to buy you a car, tell him the risks that you run into every day. Actually, tell your husband how many guys hit on you in the taxi every day. Or tell him how many border guys actually hit on you when you take a border. So he will buy you a car to not only protect you as a person, but to protect his property. Until next time, ciao.